Certainly not the best weekly close for the Bitcoin market as well as the cryptos, especially what we're seeing going on over the course of the weekend with more rugs amongst presidents and nation states, which is absolutely unreal. So in today's show, we'll talk about what this means for crypto going forward, what I'll be looking to do next within the current market conditions. It is definitely a super tough environment out there. So smash the like button, hit the bell notification, and subscribe to the channel. And let's get straight into the show content. Starting off over here, just simply put, with Banter Bubbles, just getting a bit of a high time frame overview of how things are looking. Monthlies, you know, most of the coins still down quite a lot over there. If we look at the weeklies, still up on a lot of the coins over there. What about the dailies? Some of them starting to bounce, and the hourlies is about half and half, all mixed over there. So let's get straight into the show content. We have a lot to look at. We are still in a very low volume environment, and you can expect that to continue over the course of today because there's actually a public holiday within the US, which means US markets will be closed. But nevertheless, if we look at the liquidation levels over here, you can see the majority of the liquidations over the last 24 hours coming from longs. Never long over the course of the weekend. Never take trades over the course of the weekend if you can help it, especially in these low volume environments. It is highly manipulated, right? So we'll see again this low volume environment over the course of today, which could create a little bit of a trap environment. We'll talk about what that looks like as well. If you look at the high impact data, which is going to be coming out this week specifically for crypto, we do have Trump speaking on Wednesday over there, and then we have some US FOMC meeting minutes which are coming out. So pay attention specifically to Wednesday. Keep an eye out for that. We'll see if anything worthwhile comes from that. So stock markets, although closed, expect that tomorrow they are consolidating around all-time highs. That is inherently a bullish thing for the market, despite the stock market being in extreme fear, right? Or in fear, right? If you look at the fear and greed index, still in fear for the stock market over there, despite prices being at all-time highs. And this is the one bit of hopium, at least, that you can give towards crypto, is that crypto typically follows in accordance with what the stock market is doing. But if I told you last week that the bulls were skating on thin ice, well, now the ice is really starting to crack. I can't really give them much more time over here. If they do not get prices moving very soon, in a matter of days, you could start to see some huge breakdowns for the crypto market. So we'll keep an eye out on that. Other things that we are looking for still a bit of a deeper breakdown on is going to be Tesla, right? So again, also going to be closed for today due to the markets. But on Tesla, I'm looking for something like this, possibly a move up into this underside resistance over here. And if you do start to peek your head over, around that 390, and then look for another drop down into this $290, $300 region, that's where I'm going to personally be looking to take a trade on Tesla. Now, a lot of you have been reaching out saying, where can you trade these things? Where can you trade Tesla? Where can you trade NVIDIA? Where can you trade the S&P 500? Well, we actually have an opportunity for you. If you look at the link in the description below, there is one of the oldest, actually, crypto exchanges, believe it or not, 300 different trading pairs since 2011. They've been in the markets, right? Very early days. That is BTC.D. You can trade actually crypto stocks and Forex pairs over here as well. So that's the zone. That's where I'm going to be layering in my limit orders over here between 311 and down to about $290 over there, looking for a back test into this region for support. So if you do go into this platform over here and you go under markets, you'll find under the perpetual pairs over here, you got various different plays. Tokenized stocks, commodities, etc. Everything is listed over here. You can trade Meta as well. Meta's ironically been one of the stronger charts out there. If you look at that straight up, right, this has been a very powerful, beautiful trend. So if crypto is making you pull out your hair and you are looking for something different to trade, this is one place that I can recommend, which still gives you that crypto native friendly look and feel, right? In terms of your normal slider that you have over here for leverage, I would recommend just keep it low, 1x, 2x leverage on these types of things. And that's it, right? You get up to a $10,000 sign up bonus if you do use the specific link below. So check that out and let's continue. Also, just to mention, in Whale Room, there is, we have a brand new trader that we've just entered into the group over here who has been trading these traditional markets. So for those of you that do want additional support in terms of what to do and how to trade these markets, that is going to be under Wall Street Sing, right? That is going to be the group that's labeled over there. So Additional hopium stock market going up. DXY still potentially breaking down over here, but it is going to be closed today. Pay attention to this as it opens tomorrow. If you get a little bit of a spike up over here, this is where I'm looking for the lower high for the deviation, and then a possible drop lower over there. All right, we also have Bitcoin dominance. If you look at Matthew Hyland showcasing that you have the confirmed bearish divergence now with a bearish engulfing candle on the weekly time frame for at least if you consider from the closing basis and you ignore the wick over there, the weekly time frame on Bitcoin dominance has got an engulfing candle over there. And ultimately, if this does start to break down, again, this could be the saving grace that the altcoin sector needs. Sentiment is most certainly completely down back to, those 2019 bear market lows, as well as, following this 2022 depression phase. We're back to those zones. And a lot of the altcoins price-wise are also back down to those zones. So it is pretty brutal, right? So this is the Bitcoin dominance chart that we've been focusing on for quite some time. And we'd look for a little bit of weakness over here. Of course, just showcasing the weekly, giving you a little bit of an overview over here. I know it's a bit messy, so let's quickly turn off the drawings over there. But if you just simply focus on that weekly candle, you can see how it's closed below the prior week over there. And if we do start to get some weakness with the MACD, transitioning from a full green bullish one into a little bit of a lighter candle over there and starting to work its way down, this could bring a little bit of saving grace for the crypto markets over the next coming weeks, right? This stuff will take time to play out. You still have the USDT dominance, which is in a strong position. This chart going up is bearish for crypto. This chart going down is bullish for crypto. Right now, it's more bullish than bearish, right? You have to call a spade a spade. It is finding support over here at the long term. This is the multi-year trend line, as well as when we focus on the break of structure over there, it has broken out, back tested, and it's held that as support. So theoretically, this chart does definitely look more like it's going to go up than it's going to go down. So just keep paying attention, right? There's a lot of moving parts over here. There is, a lot of, as Simo says over here, it's a mental game, right? Stay focused. And it is a mental game. These stakes have never been higher right now. This is a very, very difficult time for a lot of traders in the market, right? So, and it's because when you have these long-term consolidation ranges, they typically wear out both the bulls and the bears. And that's exactly what you're seeing, right? Bitcoin spending multiple weeks. If we consider from the wick of this candle that went in over there, I mean, this is now officially approaching 100 days. This is the 14th week officially. We've had 13 weeks closing within this trading range over here, stuck between $89,000 and on the top side, $104,000. The good news is that it's also allowed for that moving average to catch up over here, that being the 21 weekly exponential, the yellow one. And we also have the stop and reversal indicator, which is now rising ever so slightly above, right? So let's just quickly grab this and we'll elevate that ever so slightly. So now at about $90,000, this is still the very, very key, highly important support zone that's coming into this region over here. And what's good about that is it creates an easy invalidation. If you do start to break and close below this, then you're looking for a potential Bart-Simpson pattern and a bearish resolution, which could easily send you all the way back down into that $70,000 region. So remember the Bart-Simpson pattern. Please look up his face. This is essentially what it looks like. You got Bart Simpson's hairline. And if you do start to break below that $90,000 region, that is the Bart Simpson pattern, right? I'll just draw eyes on there for you and a bit of a upside down smile over there, because I'm sure most of you will not be too impressed in this environment. Okay, so that is your invalidation zone. If you are a bull, you do not want to break below this level. If you break below this level and you close any candles there, expect that you could very, very easily come down to those low levels, and then the entire bull market could be at risk, right? So low volume, it's another thing in the bears' favor over here, and not a good thing for the bulls. Volume continues to diminish and drop down, now at 50 billion, which is that psychological number. We'll see if it does find any support over here. This is also the prior breakout level where the price moves actually started to get going over the course of that November period, which was actually a pretty good month within crypto. So now reverting back towards those November levels, and you'll see a lot of the coins have given up all the gains that they had from the origin of that move in November. So full retraces over there. And now one thing that I'm looking at over here is also the Bitcoin futures open interest, which has been, of course, dropping off. But if you remember and you've been watching the shows for a couple of months, we occasionally bring this up when we're looking for a slight edge for where things could potentially go. And what we found is that there is a little bit of alpha over here, specifically by looking at the BitMEX traders, because the BitMEX whales often lead the market. And if we look at the BitMEX whales over here, and you actually focus on this, you can see just prior this drop, right, you had the open interest that rose up exponentially, and the open interest on BitMEX drop off just before the crash happened over there. And you can see, well, it's got minor spikes in between over here, but recently it's just spiked back up again. So maybe, just maybe, we'll get a short-term price move, right? So if you look at this over here, this little spike up over here, price may follow suit. So we'll keep an eye on that. For the majority of this bull run, they've been pretty accurate, right, on BitMEX over there. So something to pay attention to, extra hopium for you guys out there. We are coming off of low volatility. So with the low volume, we have very, very low volatility, which means you absolutely have to get your directional bias correct on this next move. Now, there are very different pictures out here, right? Bitcoin is one thing, and then you got altcoins, which is another thing that's not looking too good. Like you can see here, Solana coming down already around 3.25% today, where you have a lot of the other coins holding up. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about why that's happening, right? And the play over there, if there is any sort of an opportunity. So we're waiting for this to expand. Once we get a weekly close above the red line, which is a 10% mark, we know that the next big move is happening, right? Now, this is really, really being shot all the way down to extreme lows on the stochastic RSI on the weekly or the 5-day time frame, as well as the weekly. If this does start to cross back towards the upside in those dying moments, and then you get that expansion, that could present a very, very valuable opportunity to look for exposure into the market. But definitely you're going to be looking around those range lows. $90,000 to $92,000 is going to be the sweet spot to get that entry, right? Because we're still consolidating. It's absolutely wild if you look at this trading range over here in terms of how many days we've spent within this region. We are below the high volume profile over here at the points of control. You can see the white line running across the screen over there at 97,786. We spend a little bit of time above it, then we drop back below, then we're above, then we're below. So the chop does continue, the confusion continues, the low volume continues towards the downside. And remember, the ultimate target, if this does resolve towards the downside as a breakdown, is going to be towards the magnet over here, which would mean major support would be found between $77,000 and $85,000, right? It's a step-by-step process, so we need to take it one step at a time. But until that happens, you're still just ranging, right? It's as simple as that. So if you do zoom in over here and you actually have a look at this, these daily candles. That's absolutely wild. Look at that. You can just see constant chop, struggling around that point of control over there. But it seems like somebody must be filling pretty big orders over here, defending this from breaking down. Bulls are clearly holding the line over here around that $94,000 to $95,000 region, right? So if you do lose those levels, remember, it's a step-by-step process. As I mentioned, first line of support, small bounce. Second line of support, high confidence zone coming in between $83,000 and $85,000, right? Those are the levels to watch. So here's your 4-hour time frame. You had a glimmer of hope over the course of the weekend, but you can't always trust the weekend price action, which means today's going to be similar, right? Because the traditional markets are closed today. So today would trade like a weekend, which means, maybe this is going to be a little bit of a bear trap in the short term. We'll just have to see. But essentially riding that 50 and 200 EMA towards the downside, really, really struggling over there. You had a glimmer of hope where you had multiple candles closing in between the 50 and the 200 over there on the 4-hour. And that usually creates a pressured move where you're looking for big expansion in either direction, right? It's direction neutral over there. Right now, it's coming towards the downside. The only reason that I would treat this as potentially a bear trap is purely just because traditional markets are closed today, and therefore this could trade like a weekend, right? So we'll see. We'll have to reevaluate on Tuesday. Typically, Monday, you set the trading range for the rest of the week. Now we have to look towards Tuesday, right? Because this Monday is a holiday, right? So if you look over here at the deltas, positive on Bitcoin, positive on Ethereum, meaning that market or traders are looking for longs, negative on Solana, right? I said we'd talk about that, which I'm going to show you on the next slide over here, right? Pepe, flat, you have WIF, negative, which is on Solana, so that kind of makes sense. And then you have near slightly negative. It's positive for now, but it just ticked down towards, it's just ticking down right now towards the red over there. So why is this happening? I think it's got a lot to do with this, right? It's the meme coin market, essentially. This is what we've seen happen in 1 week. Not only meme coins, but mostly meme coins, right? So if you haven't been on your phone, this is essentially the TLDR, the short of what's happened as per BTC.D 5. Firstly, Near protocol accidentally showed porn during a live stream. Unbelievable stuff. But Near pumped 6% after that. You can't even make sense of this space, right? Then you had Vitalik tweeting about communism, and ETH also went up 5%. Then you had CZ of Binance. Of course, there were a lot of, they were obviously trying to build up the meme coin market on the BNB chain. And they asked, you know, what's your dog's name? He docks his dog, Broccoli, as a marketing play to bring more liquidity to BSC. And it worked. DGens launched thousands of Broccoli coins as a result. They all went to zero shortly after that. But nevertheless, another rug, right? Then we had the president of Central African Republic. Also, this was last week, launching a token from Twitter. Token pumped to 500 million and went to zero shortly after that, right? So 96% down on that one. And then this is the big one, right? The big one over here. This is also, I need to remind you about Melania Trump that came out, Donald Trump that came out, of course, with the token over there. And then you had the president of Argentina launching a coin called Libra, right? The coin pumped to $4.5 billion valuation shortly after the dev pulled the liquidity and the token and took out $87 million worth of profit, and the token went down 90% almost instantly, right? So it's not looking good, right? It's not looking good for the space over here. It's definitely not a good advert. Days after Libra's launch, reports circle of possible impeachment for the president, right? So an absolutely terrible market at the moment, especially for, you know, meme coins. And the majority of those meme coins are launched on Solana. So this is kind of one of the reasons, at least there's always a catalyst, right? So the TA did suggest that there is weakness at certain levels, which we spoke about last week. We'll bring up the Solana chart. You really don't want to see this long-term trend line break down. But there's always a catalyst. There's always something fundamentally that could drop the market. And now people want to revenge trade Solana. They want to pay the Solana devs back, right, for creating the meme coin casino. And that's essentially what you're seeing within the market right now. Yeah, market's coming down. Here you have speculation, at least as per bubble maps over here, which of course tracks all the various different wallets. It's not really speculation. I mean, they actually have evidence over here to suggest that Libra is created by the same team behind Melania, right? And other short-lived coins that were pump and dump rugs over there. So, I mean, guys, it's really, really simple. I'm going to show you in just a moment exactly how you don't have to lose on these things, right? So Bold says, so to simplify the storyline of today, this is what happened with Libra as well. You know, a lot of insider things. Many influencers were sent a large amount of Libra tokens for free in exchange for bull posting on Twitter, right? Or X. They were asked not to share that they'd received the tokens for free. Dave Portnoy was one of them, still president. He was sent 6.5 million tokens. That is straight out of his own mouth, right? And then he said he sent them back, right? Dave then chose to trade the tokens as he knew it was legit. Yet somehow he says he lost $5 million. He was then refunded for his losses by Hayden, who's the founder of Uniswap, right? And he was one of the devs that were involved, of course, in the creation of Libra. But Hayden of Uniswap says that it wasn't him. It was the dev, right? It was the other dev that rugged the liquidity. Absolute disaster, guys. Absolute disaster. The 𝗕𝗢𝗕𝗏 claims that they received none of the tokens, but they admitted to early knowledge of the token. Actually, apparently, at the Trump hotel, right? When they went to the I can't remember which one. I think it was that meeting event that they had for crypto in Florida, right? Apparently over there, everyone had the opportunity where they pitched this token to buy in a $500 million market cap, where it went to, of course, 4.5 billion. It's a shit show, for lack of any other words. Excuse my language, guys, but it's a disaster. How do you avoid getting killed in this market? Pretty much like this, right? Do you notice the difference between these charts? Libra, straight down. Trump, straight down. And then you have the president of El Salvador, who's, of course, positioned as a Bitcoin maxi. Look at what his chart looks like. He also looks a little bit happier, right, in this image. And that could be you. It could be you as well. Stick with the charts that are moving towards the upside. So let's get straight into it. Altcoins, crypto as a whole, not just the Bitcoin market, but altcoin sector. Where are we at? Well, this is your important zone where you're hopefully at least going to get a short-term bounce. But is it the ultimate low? We can't say yet. Unfortunately, this is going to be the major range low, right? This is going to be your worst case scenario, is that you see this come all the way back down to this trend line over here. But we have seen others measured against Bitcoin bounce every single time from this line over here, which led into pretty parabolic rises for the altcoin sector. So it matches up with the sentiment, which should suggest that you could get some sort of a move over here. I would at least hope for the altcoin holders that in the short term, they would at least get a little bit of a bounce, even if it sets into another lower high over there. And then maybe that lower high breaks things down into the lower boundary over here at the bottom of the trend line, the range lows, which would be fully resetting the entire market. Of course, it's much easier to make money in an up market when everything is rallying. So the best case scenario would be that you see this and you just rally up into an altcoin season, but we have to be realistic about things. Now, realistically, you should at least be looking for a short-term bounce over here, right? So we'll have to pay attention over the coming weeks, because remember, this is a weekly time frame. This can play out over time, right? If you do put in some sort of move like that, where does this line up to? Well, that would be already June. If you had to continue to just bleed through, well, that's also pretty brutal, because same story, that could mean extreme pain if you follow this type of a trajectory, extreme pain all the way into June. So we have to look at each coin independently. At the end of the day, ETH BTC, dare I say the word, but it really looks like this should be a major bottom zone for it. Could hang around here, could have come a little bit lower to fill the inefficiency of this candle over here, which is the big wick, meaning it drops down to 0.0252. Yes, it could do that. It could do that, but I definitely don't want to see it break below the wick low over here. And we've had a lot of time to reinforce this level as stronger support. So when I look at any chart, even a low time frame chart, the longer you've had price, the more candles, right, that have spent above a key level or below a key level, depending if you're long or short, it reinforces this region, right? So we've had a lot of candles, 214 candles over here. That's very, very, very significant. And therefore, that suggests after 1,500 days of eventually coming back to test that level, you should at least get a little bit of a bounce. Now, you can't necessarily expect that you're getting V-shaped recoveries like this, right? That's probably not going to happen. But similar to what I just outlined on the others chart measured against Bitcoin, in the short term, it should at least lead to a little bit of a bounce, right? And then you can see, is that bounce going to lead into a lower high or not? So here's your Solana chart. Would I be bailing completely out of Solana right this second? I think you need to wait for a daily close, but this is the longer term trend line. What does this trend line suggest? Well, it suggests that if you do break this level, you're probably coming back down to next major support, which realistically could be as far down as 32%, right? That is going to be the range low major support over here for Solana. You do have hidden bullish divergence, right? So, of course, it depends what this candle does on the daily over here. You do need to see a bit of a price move from here. How do you invalidate on this? I think it's very easy. If you're giving the bulls a little bit of hope over here, you can have pretty much a hard stop underneath that candle over there. So if you break below the candle low from Monday, the 3rd of February, you just immediately stop out of the position. That's going to be looking bad, right? Because this is the second time you've come into that zone. And already that wick fill did test 50%, filling the inefficiency, which means, at some point you do have to bail out of those positions over there. So it would be, I think, catching a lot of people off guard if you did see a proper breakdown over here on Solana. Look, I think I would be patient over here, but still with a hard stop below that level. And, if you do see something like this, and it comes up and it starts to again hang around, setting in more lower highs over there, then you can manually cut the entire position. Otherwise, you still have a chance for your momentum oscillator to create, more bullish divergence, regular bullish divergence over here. So I think you need to be watching this as well. I'll update you on the show, but if you get something like that, you could get regular bullish divergence, price putting in lower lows, momentum oscillator putting in higher lows over there. That's your bullish divergence following what was just the hidden bullish divergence. So time will tell, right? We'll keep an eye out on that. All right. Let me know in the comments if there is anything else that you want to see. What I will also remind you of is if you go through to the video that I did yesterday on YouTube, I did outline a bunch of the altcoins and at least my thought process on what could potentially be coming next, right? And it was contingent on what happened with the weekly close, which was not favorable for the bulls, right? That this has been an unfavorable weekly close for the bulls. You wanted to see $100,000. We didn't even get close. It closed around 96,400-ish, right? Okay, cool. Let me know what else you guys want to have a look at. We can pull any of the things that you want to see today on the charts over here for the altcoin sector. Our traders are crushing it, of course, in whale room. I think this is one of the best discords in the entire world. If you do want to take advantage of that, there is a link in the description below. And then if you want a free community to join, well, join Crypto School, right? You can join Whale School over here. Use any of the links that are listed below over here to sign up. That will give you your ticket in. That's your verification. Put in your email address. They'll use that user ID to verify you. And that is it. All right, cool. Okay, let's have a look at some of the other coins over here. Let's actually check out what's happening on the Trump coin. So very quickly on the Trump coin. Trump down to $3.47 billion market cap. I'm actually impressed that it's even managed to hold up at that level. I firmly believe this is going to do a full 80% minimum retrace. I could easily see this going down even 95%. But as a starter, from top to bottom, I'm calling for at least 80%, which has got very, very close to, maybe this candle will do it. That's going to be taking it down to about $11. On Trump, if it does do 95%, that's going to take you down to about $2.30. So not looking good, right? Melania will go to zero, in my opinion, absolute zero. I don't think that you'll ever see a pump out of this coin ever again, and I really hope I'm not hurting any of your feelings, but I'm just saying it as it is. This one sucks. It's terrible, especially now that you know that it has ties to the insiders who just launched this Libra coin, right? So already there, 90% down. It's actually a bit more than 90% down, 90.8% down. And I believe this one will do the full 100, right? 99.99% down. So you can expect 0.06. So if you can find any place where you can short this, that lists Melania as an opportunity to short, that could be a great place, right? Let's actually have a look right now. Even though it's down so much, any bounces become a shorting opportunity on something like this. So Melania, let's go to Melania over here. Let's just see. So we can just go into CoinGecko and we'll go to markets and we'll go to perpetual markets. And there is perpetuals on this, on Binance, Bybit, KuCoin, Mexi. So a whole bunch of exchanges over there. If you have any of those, easy money, right? Easy money. I think this is one of the strategies that you can utilize in the current market conditions until you have full confirmation of reversals in the altcoin sector. You can basically look to these vaporware coins, start to create short opportunities over there, long Bitcoin, short the vaporware, short some of these meme coins. Not all of them. I do still think that some of them have super strong communities and will do well. But, if you're talking about a 0.01% chance of succeeding in the overall altcoin or the overall meme coin sector, it would make sense, right? That you try short all of them. That's easier money, I think. Most of those will go to zero. Okay, let's continue. What else have we got? How's ETH doing? Let's quickly have a look at ETH. So ETH still holding up over here. It's still range bound. You did get your oversold signal when it comes to the momentum oscillator over there. Let's just quickly have a look on maybe on the 5-day time frame, since we have that low volatility. If there's any sort of divergences, not yet over there. What about the 4-hour time frame in the short term? Let's have a look at ETH. So for me, ETH has refilled this area. Could it come lower? Could it come all the way down to this week, which occurred on the 4-hour time frame? It's always possible, but I wouldn't be looking for that far down. I think on the daily, it's already fulfilled what it needed to. Now I'm just expecting a range to develop on ETH like this, right? So you're probably just looking for something like this. Takes time for the market to digest what's happened, and then we'll wait for Bitcoin to leave its trading range, and that will probably determine where things go to next. Okay, Colin. I'll have a look for Colin. I don't think I've ever charted this one, but it's probably going to be here on DEX Tools. So let's quickly pull that up. Colin, $6.7 million market cap. It's got a lot of holders. And let's have a look on the daily time frame. Let's just go back there. So daily time frame. Look, it looks like the rest of them, it's been absolutely smashed. Where is your absolute major technical support? That is it. The major technical support is 0.0038, which price-wise could be as much as 44% still down before significant support, right? You can see it found short-term support over here, and you did get a little bit of a green candle, but it's not saying too much. Okay, Casper, I see there's a question on Casper. Look, Casper reclaimed back into the trading range. Sometimes this can actually turn out to be something incredibly bullish, but for now, the trend is still down, right? Lower lows and lower highs. So I would definitely be patient on this. Give it a bit of time to, defend this level. It's not going to V-shape out of here anyway. So if on Casper, you do see it, holding out like this, just kind of bouncing around over here, that could be an opportunity. Otherwise, if it does reject and start to break down, you can even easily take out a hedge short trade over here. Where would you place your stop? I think if you want a very tight stop, you can go below on the short trade, tight stop above the yearly open. Much looser stop would be, of course, above this breakdown level, which means that's your invalidation if it does this. And basically, that can just be a beautiful hedge position, right? Because if this does continue to hold underneath here, then you're looking for major distribution at the very least, all the way back down to 0.049, which is this zone. So what would that be percentage-wise? 54%. I think as an insurance plan, it does kind of make sense on some of these trades to do this, right? Again, I said loose stop would be over here, and you can trade it down. This is giving you, right, you need to get this a bit higher. Just hold on a second. So it's not that great odds. I probably wouldn't go for this. I would probably go for the loose stop as a hedge over there above the yearly open. That gives you a 4-to-1 risk to reward ratio. So risking a small amount if you're already long, right? You're just risking a small amount, and you should remain delta neutral over there. And then if it spikes you out over here, you're out the position, it's fine. Okay. What else? What else have we got, guys? All right. WIF. Sure, we can have a look at that. I see some of you say top signals. Look, there is definitely some top signals. Absolutely, there are top signals, but I still don't think it's cycle top yet. And even if it is, this would be my expectation, right? Let's go back to Bitcoin over here. Even if it were cycle top, we told you it's absolutely over if you break below this level. So let's mark it out over here. This level over here. If you break below this candle, we can even label that for you. We'll put it in red and we'll make it nice and big. And we'll say, let's call it dead in crypto language. In crypto, we spell dead, D-E-D. Okay, so that is your dead zone. Okay, let's put zone as well. So this is your dead zone. If you break below that, dead, it's over, right? But you would still get a complacency bounce. And I think it's very unlikely that you see this. And the reason why I think this is the most likely outcome is that. But even if you do break down below this level, you'll still get a big bounce, right? That would play at that Bart Simpson that I showed you. You would still get a big bounce up towards similar levels probably, which would then lead into that complacency bounce. And then you can start to exit and you say that the bull market is completely over, right? Then you'd be looking at this. I don't think that that's happening. And the reason why I don't think that's happening is because we've never, ever, ever in the history of crypto or Bitcoin seen the market top on such bearish sentiment. You have to ask yourself, in this entire environment, how has the sentiment been? And the sentiment's been incredibly bearish, right? The market's always top on extreme euphoria. So when we're over here, I can tell you, this zone over here, what was the sentiment in the market, right? The sentiment over here was that we're going to minimum, most conservative targets at that point in time were about $85,000, right? And of course, Bitcoin topped over here at 69. This is where markets top in that environment. And then if you go back to 2017, well, this was another wild beast, right? This one definitely topped on extreme euphoria. People never knew when this thing was going to end. It looked like at that stage, people were calling for already, close to $100,000 in a few weeks' time. That's how bullish it was. So we haven't seen that kind of sentiment yet at all. And you can actually measure that by looking at the Fear and Greed Index to gauge the sentiment. Another really good thing that you can look at is very easy as the YouTube views, right? So this is probably, to me, the best sentiment indicator that's out there, because the YouTube views will tell you what the market wants and what the market is doing, right? When the market is in extreme euphoria, everyone wants to know what's the next best altcoin to buy and what's going to pump the hardest. And consequently, they come to the YouTube channels, the crypto YouTube channels, which are all listed below. And none of them have got anywhere close to what we saw in 2021, right? Not even close. And this cycle should be bigger and better than what we saw previously back then. So could you go through a mid-cycle serious scare and correction to much lower levels? How low? Absolutely you could. And how low would it be? Well, I think that, most terrifying situation would probably be a move down to about $72,000, at which point then I still think that you could see something like that in continuation higher, right? So 72 would be like worst of the worst. Your highest probability bounce zone, if this weakness continues, is still 83 to 85. That number's not going to change, right? So we're still sticking with the same numbers. There's no flip-flopping over here. If you want to know if you're confused with my stance, this is my stance, right? I gave 51% odds to the bulls defending this level, 49 to the bears breaking it down. Right now, because the weekend close was very unfavorable, I'll probably be back to 50-50. And I would say that if we do break down, this is the major zone to at least defend. And otherwise, it's a no trade zone. This is just a no trade zone, right? No trade zone. Where does it become a trade zone? It becomes a trade zone if you break below this level into this box. That's a trade zone. You can begin scaling and buying over there. Alternatively, it becomes a trade zone if you break above this level over here, above 101,000. That is breaking the breakdown level and reclaiming it. That becomes a trade zone where you can look for continuation. So what do you do right now? Nothing. Educate yourself. Go through to Crypto School, join Whale School. 7 days left to go, right? Also, again, a reminder, BTC.D, one of the longest standing exchanges. If you do want to trade traditional markets where there are actually things that are going up each and every day, then check that out. There's a link in the description below. Get your sign-up bonus. That is it from me, folks. I'll see you all in the next one. I hope you have a lovely, lovely day, and happy holidays to those of you in the US. We'll see you all on the next one tomorrow, and cheers for now.